The federal government says preliminary investigation has shown that the recent attack on the Kaduna-Abuja train is collaboration between dislodged Boko Haram terrorists in the northeast and bandits operating in the forest of the northwest. Minister of Information Lai Mohammed revealed this at the end of the weekly Federal Executive Council meeting chaired by President Muhammadu Buhari. We have in this report.
Lai Mohammed says plans and efforts of the military in fighting terrorism will not be a subject matter of a press conference. But it is not surprising that memos presented by the Ministry of Defense got the approval of the Federal Executive Council. Contracts have been awarded for the purchase of brand new vehicles to transport cargoes and troops to operational areas. The federal government suspects the recent attack on an Abuja-bound train on the Kaduna-Abuja rail line is a collaboration between bandits and Boko Haram terrorists, but insists the efforts of service chiefs will soon unravel those involved in the attack.
Honestly, I think the security chiefs are working hard to unveil those who are involved, and I will tell you very soon the people that are carrying out these activities. What is really going on, and our efforts to ensure that all these activities are stopped once and for all. We're really on top of the situation. We're planning hard, and we'll get to them as soon as possible.
Preliminary reports of what transpired at the Kaduna train attack shows that there's been a kind of collaboration between the bandits and the dislodged Boko Haram fighters from the northeast. But overall, I can tell you very confidently that the very government is on top of this matter.
The power sector is still reeling from the effect of the national grid collapse. The Minister of Power also agrees that the frequent attack on power infrastructure in the country is a deliberate economic sabotage that will not be allowed to fester.
So we need to also work together as a nation to support the leadership, to support the government, to face these challenges together.
The Federal Executive Council also approved a memo for the reconstruction of Pategi Water Project in Kwara State, and the Ministry of Science and Technology also got approval for 2 memos presented at the Federal Executive Council. Now there are fresh expectations that the approval gotten by the Ministry of Defense will enhance the operations of the country's military and improve the offensive against terrorists and bandits. Femi Akonde, TVC News, Abuja.
We'll begin from the seat of power, where President Muhammadu Buhari is currently presiding over the Council of State meeting at the presidential villa in Abuja. The meeting started at 10 a.m. and has in attendance Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, National Security Advisor, Chief of Staff to the President. Also in attendance are former heads of state, Goodluck Jonathan, General Abdulsalami Abubakar, and General Yakubu Gowon. The chairman of the Nigeria Governors Forum is leading about 6 other governors physically present at the council chambers, while the others joined virtually from their respective states. Before the commencement of proceedings, the Council of States observed a minute silence in honor of former head of the interim national government, Ernest Shonekan, who died on the 11th of January. This is the 4th Council of State meeting chaired by President Muhammadu Buhari this year. The meeting is expected to deliberate on important national issues, especially matters of security and the economy. Now, still in the nation's capital, lawmakers in the Green Chamber of the National Assembly have again voiced their displeasure over attacks, killings by bandits and terrorist groups in the country. The lawmakers are now renewing the call on President Muhammadu Buhari to declare a state of emergency on the nation's security situation. They insist that Nigeria is under siege and should seek the services of mercenaries to supplement the efforts of security agencies in containing the situation. This call is coming days after dozens of people were gruesomely murdered in Plateau and Benue states by suspected bandits and killer herdsmen. National Assembly correspondent Joke Adisa has the story.
Almighty God, Creator and ruler of heaven and earth.
Motions on insecurity from virtually every part of the country have become regular on legislative days here. On this day, 2 motions detailed the indiscriminate killings, rape, kidnapping, and destruction of property in Plateau and Benue states.
Nigerians are being killed on a daily basis, Mr. Speaker. The 4 angles of Nigeria, nowhere is safe. Mr. Speaker, what is beating my imagination more, aside of the killing, is who is responsible, not in terms of the people that are committing those atrocities. Nigerian governments have come out in different occasions to say they know them.
This matter has created fears among our constituents, and it poses grave danger in many ways, which could include negative reactions from our constituents.
It is a display of emotion, anger, and frustration as members contribute to the 2 motions. They accuse some of the security agents of aiding and abetting bandits and renew calls for the sack of the National Security Advisor and the Minister of Defense.
It is so sad that we have come to a situation in this country where evil is perpetrated and no one is held accountable.
We have cases where we understand that information were passed to the security personnel, and still these terrorists overcome the ordinary Nigerian people. This is a failed state.
The executive headed by Mr. President must know that Benue, our lives matter. We come here and we cry, and today again, Benue is bleeding.
I don't know what argument anybody can give to insulate the security agencies in terms of doing their duty to ensure that this thing does not happen.
The House seeks relief materials for displaced persons and urges the presence of Joint Security Task Force in affected areas.
As part of solutions to the increasing wave of insecurity in the country, the legislators urged President Muhammadu Buhari to immediately invoke Section 83, subsection 1 of the Constitution for the release of contingency fund to enable the country that the services of mercenaries. Joke Adisa, TVC News, Abuja.
All right, let's take you back to the State House, where the meeting of the Council of State is holding, presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari right now. We're joined by correspondent Femi Akonde from the State House. Femi, it's good to have you join me now. Can you bring us up to speed with some of the issues on the table for discussion?
Well, Mike, we do not know what is on the table for discussion, but, you know, the Council of State would normally discuss issues of national interest, and what is on the front burner right now in the country is the issue of security. We know what is happening in Plateau State, in Kaduna State, and Benue State, and some other parts of the country. This is a matter of urgent national importance, and we believe that that would be a topic for discussion for the Council of State. You know, the Council of State is just an advisory body for the executive arm of government. It comprises of former heads of states. In attendance today are President Goodluck Jonathan, General Abdulsalami Abubakar, and General Yakubu Gowon. We expect them to bring their wealth of experience to bear in advising President Muhammadu Buhari and his administration on how to handle issues of security, the economy, and other national issues that, of course, affect Nigerians and citizens in the country as a whole. The meeting will soon end in a matter of minutes, and we expect that somebody will be delegated to brief journalists, to brief State House correspondents on what transpired, and then we will know exactly what was discussed and resolutions reached. Mike?
All right. Now, we understand former President Goodluck Jonathan, Abdulsalami Abubakar, as well as General Yakubu Gowon are at the meeting. But certainly some others, it's not clear if President Obasanjo is joining maybe virtually or present. Can you make us understand why the other heads of state or former heads of state are not present?
Well, we do not know for now why some of them are not present. Some people say that President Olusegun Obasanjo might join later on. For now, we don't know if he has joined. He's expected to join virtually. That is, since he was unable to be present physically, he's expected to join virtually. At the end of the meeting, that we'll be able to say for certain if President Olusegun Obasanjo did join or did not join the Council of State meeting. But that will not also take away the importance or significance of the meeting. We already have 3 former heads of state in attendance. We have the state governors in attendance. We have the National Security Advisor in attendance. So the absence or presence of President Olusegun Obasanjo will not take away anything from the Council of State's meeting, Mike.
All right, now let's talk a little bit about the security situation, which may be part of the agenda for discussion at the Council of State in the first place. Now, let's feel the pulse of what Abuja residents are saying. At the time, we heard that those living in the outskirts of Abuja were scared that there could be attacks here and there. We hear of 1 or 2 kidnappings at different times. What are residents of Abuja saying regarding security?
Well, the tension has been high, and just last week, the minister of the FCT summoned an emergency security meeting that had in attendance the commissioner of police here in the FCT, the man in charge of the military formation here in FCT, and other security agencies, where they discussed matters of security and how to keep residents in Abuja safe and guarantee the safety of lives and property. In Abuja, there has been incidents of the one chance kidnapping for ransom, and even burglary and armed robbery has also been on the increase. But after that meeting, we have seen deployment of security agencies as strategic positions within the FCT, and it is believed that in the coming days, all of these a high rate of insecurity will abate, and residents of Abuja will begin to feel safe and secure to move around the federal capital again. Mike.
All right. Thank you very much, Femi Akonde, our State House correspondent, for bringing us up to speed on this. Watching TVC News. Now, Plateau State has also been a hotbed of attacks from bandits. The most recent incident saw gunmen suspected to be bandits attack 4 villages in Condemns Council area of the state, and more than 100 deaths were recorded in that attack, while many houses were set ablaze. That's what we'll be talking about next. Now, joining me virtually from Plateau State, Jos, to discuss the troubling spate of insecurity is the CEO, Tarmac Security Limited, Taria Ipalibo. Taria, it's good to have you join me this afternoon. Inko Taria, are you there? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Great. Nice to have you join me. Now, let's look at the Plateau. There was a time that peace had returned where novelty matches were even played between herders and locals there, signaling a return of cordial relationship, a mutual relationship where everyone understands and they work together. What is going on? What happened that we are hearing of attacks again in Plateau State?
Yes, when the peace march was played, it showed everyone that peace had returned, and then the herders had reconciled with the indigenes, but what is happening lately, we believe, though not confirmed, that they are not indigenous herders. They are people who came from outside the state to perpetrate this heinous crime. So apparently, it has nothing to do with the indigenous, the herders that have been on the plateau for years. There are some elements from outside the state.
All right. Now, it gives some kind of worry, because with the security presence in parts of Plateau State to forestall any kind of breakdown of law and order of this kind, one wonders how herdsmen or unknown gunmen come from outside the state to carry out this kind of reported mass killings of close to 100 people, with villages being sacked, and they succeed in doing this and getting away without any defense from the security agencies, or at least to repel them or something. Talk to us about the level of security presence in all of those places.
We are on ground, and from what we can see, the security presence from the various security agencies, that it's grossly inadequate. Grossly inadequate. There is no way you will have enough men covering the entire local government, the 17 local governments in Plateau, and it's obvious that the current security setup is not adequate.
All right, now talk to us about some of the efforts by locals to defend themselves. Of course, in the eye of the law, everyone should submit to the constituted authority. However, there are some times where vigilantes or even locals come together to create people who watch over the villages or the communities for a period of time. Talk to us about those kind of things. Do they exist?
As a matter of fact, in providing communal security, the paramount rulers, various traditional leaders, and then the youths must be involved. And to a large extent, they've been involved. They've mobilized themselves into vigilante groups and hunters groups and the various security groups within the community. But you see, that effort in itself cannot provide the much desired protection. Reason is because these various groups, they lack the technical support system. They are not trained. They are not trained. They do not know how to pick intelligence. They do not know what to do. So you see them getting overwhelmed because of their lack of preparedness. So, and that's why we keep saying, as private security practitioners on the plateau, that there is need for collaboration. The government and the traditional leaders need to reach out to some of us that have the requisite technical expertise that can provide the necessary guide that would ultimately protect the people. So yes, on the one hand, they have grouped themselves as vigilante and hunters, but on the other hand, they lack the training. You know, so you always hear of attacks and attacks and attacks and attacks. So what they do not know what to do to stop the attack or to prevent the attack.
All right, Taria Ipalibo, thank you so much for joining us right now on the news. Moving ahead right now, still on the threatening level of insecurity in the country, it's now 8 years since hundreds of schoolgirls were abducted from the remote village of Chibok in Borno State, northeast Nigeria. On the night of April 2014, Boko Haram militants invaded the government girls' college Chibok and kidnapped 276 girls, mostly aged between 16 and 18. Concerned citizens and civil society organizations are still appealing to relevant authorities to ensure the rescue of the remaining girls from their captors. Jesse Tafida reports.
April 2014 remains an indelible date in the nation's history. It is the day more than 270 girls were abducted from Government Secondary School Chibok, Borno State, northeast Nigeria. 57 of the schoolgirls were said to have escaped almost immediately after the incident. The terror group Boko Haram claimed responsibility for the abduction in a video released by their then leader, Abubakar Shekau, on May 5, 2014. Who are we? Early negotiation brought a spark of hope. The 200 remaining girls will be released quickly, but this was quickly dashed.
This unconscionable act was committed by a terrorist group determined to keep these girls from getting an education. And I want you to know that Barack has directed our government to do everything possible to support the Nigerian government's efforts to find these girls and bring them home.
All negotiation came to a standstill until 13th October 2016, when 21 out of the girls were released. The successful negotiations between the federal government and the militant group renewed hope that more of the girls will soon come out from captivity. Demands for the release of the remaining girls have been relentless since then, with little result.
They should sit down and strategize what is happening, that this particular thing is not coming to an end. And not only the Chibok girls, there are so many girls who are in captivity.
The Ministry of Defense working on safe school declaration to ensure protection of children in school are well protected.
So I want to use this opportunity to call on the government and relevant agencies to wake up to their own responsibilities to ensure that people's lives and property are protected.
The abduction of the Chibok school girls remain fresh in the minds of Nigerians. Several other abductions have followed, like the 110 school girls from Government Science and Technical College Dapchi in Yobe State. Concerned citizens are of the view that Nigerian authorities need to live up to their pledge of protecting the people and double up efforts to provide a safe learning environment for students in the country. Jessita Fida, TVC News.
And now to labor matters. The Nigeria Labour Congress has intervened in the lingering disagreement between the federal government and unions in the tertiary institutions that has crippled activities in the nation's universities. The Congress issued a 21-day ultimatum to the government to resolve the issues with members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, Non-Academic Staff Union of Educational and Associated Institutions, Senior Staff Association of Nigeria Universities, and National Association of Academic Technologists. This was contained in a statement jointly signed by NLC President Ayuba Waba and the Congress Secretary General Emmanuel Ubuaja. Mr. Waba expressed concerns over the failure of the government to honor its 2009 renegotiated agreement with them. He said that after the expiration of the ultimatum, the NLC would decide on the next line of action if the government fails to resolve the impasse within the period. The national leader of All Progressives Congress, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, says Nigeria needs a leader that will address the myriads of challenges facing the country. He stated this at a meeting held with APC serving and former speakers, as well as their deputies in the state houses of assembly. Abimbola Gbebi has the story.
It was a gathering of legislators, past and present speakers and deputy speakers from across the 36 states in the country, converged on Lagos to meet minds with the former governor of the state, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. This is coming days after he met with APC governors in Abuja. With Lagos being the host, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and the Speaker of the Assembly welcomed the former governor to the parley, which was themed the legislature, changing times and Nigeria's democratic journey.
Asiwaju, our leader.
Asiwaju Tinubu, who further declared his intention to join the presidential race, describes himself as the most qualified for the top position.
As I name Nigeria, Nigeria needs me. In the face of tyranny, I have survived. Struggle for democracy. The twist and turn of it, I've endured the bush path, living without family, living in exile, financing other pro-democracy groups. With the sweat and my investment, I've contributed immensely, more than any other person running today.
Asiwaju Bola Tinubu highlights when he was the first governor to grant autonomy to the State House of Assembly in the country.
To make Nigeria work is a task that not been done. Who could do it? I say I am.
Without much ado, the APC lawmakers threw their weight behind the former governor, pledging their support.
The judge has invited all people in that space, legislators, current, former, past, to seek, their cooperation, and because he feels that they are an important stakeholder, right, in his drive to actualize, its dream.
We strongly believe in his idea. We strongly believe in his vision,
we strongly believe in his commitment, and that is why we are here today.
He has a great plan for Nigeria if he is able to get the chance.
The lawmakers are confident that the collaborative efforts between the legislature and the executive arm will bring about the desired results. Abimbola Agbebi, TVC News, Lagos.